everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is Margot's 7-month update, and I know it feels like I just did an update for her. It was several weeks ago at this point, but I wanted to get this one out before she turned 8 months because several things have changed. So I'm gonna read to you some of the things that I have listed on my phone. I just kind of write them down as I see things happen to remind me to talk to you guys about it later. So the first thing I have here is her weight, and she is just under 20 pounds, and I can physically feel her weight change. Like, she feels heavier to me when I pick her up, which is really nice. I'm not really sure, you know, what I've done differently that she's put on weight, but it's good that she is. The next change I have on my list to talk about is her teeth. She has just cut finally 2 bottom teeth, and I just thought it was so strange that they hadn't come in until now. Sebastian had 2 teeth by the time he was like 4 months, but I looked back at his update video and he still had only had those 2 bottom teeth at 7 months. But with her, she only just now is getting her teeth. I mean, I wasn't worried. I just thought it was kind of funny how different they were. They're not fully in, but they've completely cut through. They're still coming in, and thankfully we have not had any issues with teething. I actually didn't know they were coming in. Randomly, I think Brandon and I were talking about their teeth, the kids' teeth in general, and I looked in her mouth and I was like, oh my gosh, she has teeth coming in. She never had any teething issues, never like any crying or any, you know, fevers or things like that. So I'm thankful, but yeah, she's handled it like a champ, and they're almost in, and they're so cute. I just love it. I forgot about this stage. She is currently still wearing Pampers diapers, and she wears a size 3. As far as clothing is concerned, she is in 6-month size. She is closer to 8 months at this point, so I'm trying to buy 6 to 9 months, but if I go any bigger, it would be way too big for her. Even 6 to 9 is baggy, but brands like Carter's have clothes for exactly 6 months, and that's what I buy for her, and they fit fine. By the way, 2 things. I had someone comment on her last update video saying that I should have given her a toy to play with because she was reaching for like the tags on the pillow on my bed, and I've tried to do that this time and she's dropped them all on the floor, and I can't keep stopping to pick them up. So that is why I don't give toys while I film these with her, so you don't have to feel sorry for her. And then the second thing is she's getting sleepy because it's close to bedtime and we're filming in her room, so hopefully we can get this done before she starts, you know, turning up. But anyway, as far as her clothing is concerned, I like to have her in a bow or a ruffle at all times. I just love like having a little girl and being able to play dress up with her. And you know, it's really trendy right now to have baby girls, especially in an androgynous outfit that's like those solid color tracksuits, but I like to keep her dressed in like a ruffle or a bow at all times. I just think it's so fun, and it's gonna be so cute to look back on. And when her style changes, which it may or may not, I feel like she'll be grateful to have those photos just like I was, of being dressed up to the nines on any given day. And to just round out her stats, her eyes are still brown. That's not going to change. And her hair is still very curly. If she'll turn forward, you can see it. We don't do that much to it. I just like to let it go and, you know, grow on its own. And we are still growing in this bald patch. It is coming in slowly, but you know, we're just waiting for that to come back in, just like her brothers did. Nice and full like the top. And since we're on the topic of hair, we're using Shea Moisture shampoo and conditioner in the coconut and hibiscus scent. I know we've had it, but I don't know if we were really using it that much, but we use it all the time now, and I really like it. And it's the one that is specifically made for curly hair. All right, so moving on to food and drink. So over the last month, I don't know if I talked about this in the last one, but we do now give her water. She drinks from a sippy cup with a straw, which is awesome because Bash did not learn how to use a straw until he was probably like 9 months or so, but she uses a straw with no problem. So at lunch and dinner, I give her little sips of water, and she also sometimes gets prune juice because she does have a little bit of constipation issues now that we've started the solids. Her brother was just like this. I know juice is not recommended for children, so you wouldn't talk to your doctor before you ever give it to your baby, but the recommendation that we were given was prune juice is safe, and we were told that you give their ounces per their age. So she's 7 months, so she can have up to 7 ounces a day. And while we're on the topic of drinking, Margot is still going very strong with breastfeeding. I'm so proud of her because this experience just breastfeeding has been so incredible. It's been so much better than the first go round, and I'm really happy that we've been able to continue. We are still on the hunt for a good bottle. So when I give her expressed milk, milk. It's in her sippy cup and she has no problem with it. Actually, if she won't take a bottle anytime soon, I'm just gonna leave things as they are and we'll go straight to the Nook Learner. And I'll probably be getting one of those for her in the next like couple months or so. But as I said before, the sippy cup with a straw with her water and her juice is working just fine, and she takes the milk in great as well when she needs it. And with that, that brings me to today's sponsor, LV. I just want to say thank you for supporting and believing in my channel and working with me on this portion of the video. All right guys, so I'm cutting in on my update with Margot to talk to you really quickly about the LV Curve and the LV Catch. And if you hear a little knocking, it's Margot over there. We're playing in her room right now. First, we're gonna talk about the LV Curve. If you are a breastfeeding or pumping mama, please do yourself a favor and check these out. I only wish that I'd had these since the beginning of my breastfeeding and pumping journey with Margot. So the LV Curve is a wearable silicone breast pump that uses natural suction to gently express your milk. And it can hold up to 4 ounces. The ounce marks are on the back here on the silicone part. And while pretty much all silicone pumps do suction to you and you can take your hand off, most of them are not the type that you can just get up and go walk around and do what you want, because they will pop off and spill milk everywhere. Whereas this one suctions to you and sits inside of your bra, and then you can go about your day as you pump for a little bit. It requires next to no effort to use this. However, I will say it probably took me like 3 attempts to get it suctioned properly, just as I was getting used to learning how to use it. And to release the suction, it's so simple, it doesn't hurt. You just press this little valve right here and it instantly pops off. This pump is also completely dishwasher safe and BPA free, and it's made with food grade silicone, so it's safe for you and the baby. I'm about to nurse Margot and I'm gonna put this on the other side and collect some milk. However, you don't have to be nursing in order to use this, but I'm gonna quickly pop this in and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so as you can see, it is in, and I'm completely hands-free. It is on this side and I'm about to feed Margot, and it's very discreet. If I had to run out into the store, I would pop this in my purse just so that if my milk started letting down while I was in the store, I'd have something to catch it in. Speaking of, if you needed something to catch your milk in, say you don't want to use an actual breast pump, and in comes the LV Catch, and I love these. But first, I just want to quickly show you and tell you what the LV Catch does. They are milk collection cups that have slip-proof security and basically will not allow you to leak as you collect your milk. These collect up to 1 ounce of milk each. These aren't what you would use to pump milk. They aren't pumps, they just collect. This is great in my opinion for letdown, or if you're like me, especially how I was at the beginning when I had an oversupply and my milk would let down in between feeds. It's great to have these, and they're comfortable enough to just have them in your bra. I don't know if you'd want to have them in, you know, for long extended periods of time. That would be up to you. You can see Margot back there. But in the morning when I go in to feed her, I just pop one of these into my bra and it catches what is leaking from the other side. Because like I said, I don't necessarily leak between feeds anymore, but after a long night of not feeding her, I do start leaking. So I just stopped the camera just to show you how discreet they are. You would never know that they are in there, but they are in fact in there on both sides, and they're very comfortable. And like I said, these catch an ounce, so this isn't something that you would like pump into, and they don't have suction in that way, but they do catch leaks. I don't feel like I have anything sitting on my chest when in fact I do have 2 LV Catches right in my bra. These can be worn up to 3 hours and they're safe to wash by hand, or you can put them in your dishwasher and they're great for everyday use. Again, the LV Curve and Catch are probably the best pumping and catching solutions I've ever had. And I love that I can be completely hands-free and go about my day and not have to worry about them spilling everywhere. I will put all the information below on how you can get your very own LV Curve or LV Catch, and thank you again, LV, for sponsoring this video. So if you watched her last update, I do believe I talked about her eating purees and possibly being open to stopping purees and moving more toward the baby-led weaning approach. And in my mind, I really thought that that was something that I wanted to do because my anxiety was not very high as far as she's concerned as it was the first time I had a baby, and I've completely scrapped that. I started giving her little bits of food and I can't take the gagging. I thought I was going to be able to handle it because I know there's a difference between gagging and choking, but I still can't take the gagging. And the other day I just watched her gag and her eyes filled up with tears, and I know she was not choking because I do know the difference. She didn't need my help in any way, but I could not take it because I felt like she was suffering. morning. I will slowly continue to give her little things, like I don't mind giving her bread and like puffs and teethers and things like that, but I think I'm gonna wait again until she's 10 months to fully go full force into eating actual pieces of table food. You don't have to give me any advice on how to feed her, you know, bigger pieces of food, because it really has nothing to do with her and everything to do with me and my anxiety. I just can't take it. It's too nerve-wracking. So if you're out there and you're in the trenches with trying to feed your babies bigger pieces of food and getting out of purees, comment below, but I totally understand where you're coming from if you're nervous. So a question that I got on my Instagram is, how did you introduce purees? I need help. So really all I did was I just bought the purees that I wanted to give her, and it's usually like one vegetable or one fruit that's not blended with anything, and I just fed it to her. And I started with it once in the morning, and then the next day I did the same one, because you want to introduce them in blocks of about 3 days, I think is the recommendation, so that you can make sure they don't have an allergy. And once I saw that she didn't have an allergy, I brought in the second one. And so the original one we tried would then be pushed to the afternoon, and I would start the new fruit in the morning or the new vegetable in the morning. I hope that makes sense. And then we'd slowly move on to another and another. And now she eats her purees 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I nurse her first, and then about 20 minutes or so later, I feed her. And I figured I'd list off some of the foods that she's had. She's basically had all the normal things: avocados, turkey, chicken and rice, blends, apples, bananas, carrots, peaches, pears, mangoes, blueberries, spinach, corn, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, peas, and a ton of other blends of things. But yeah, she pretty much has had everything that I would probably give her if I was cooking it. It's just been pureed. And in the morning she eats oatmeal. I did wait until around now to introduce oatmeal because she's had skin issues. Her doctor thought that maybe it would be best to introduce regular foods first to give her body time to adjust to foods, and hopefully the wheat and the grain or whatever it is in the oatmeal wouldn't cause her eczema to flare up, and she has been just fine on it. That's been great. We're still trying to get in with the allergist, so until then I think I definitely am holding off on giving her anything she hasn't had before. Recently I ate something with eggs. I didn't realize it had eggs in it, and it wasn't like a baked good, it was a souffle, and I ate it and I was like, oh my gosh, like she's gonna have issues with her poop having blood in it like she used to when I ate eggs. And she didn't have any problem, no bowel issues at all. So I'm going to potentially try it again and see, because that may be something she's finally overcome, which is really nice. All right guys, so we have to blaze through this because she's definitely getting sleepy. That's okay. And for those who might be curious, the oatmeal that we give her, it's Earth's Best in the yellow box. And the purees that we give her are by Gerber, and I try to keep it organic, so she gets mostly beech nut. But Gerber does have a lot of blends with meat, and I try to keep that in her diet, so she does get those as well. All right, so moving on to words. She is definitely my girl because she has started saying mama first. Sebastian said dada first and took forever to finally say mama, but she says mama, and we call Sebastian Bubby here, and so she has started saying bubba. She still hasn't said dada yet. I tease Brennan about it all the time because I just am so happy that she said mama first. I mean, it's not a big deal if she hadn't, but I know mama's the harder one to say, so it just makes me think like, oh, she loves me, but I know it has nothing to do with that. As far as her motor skills are concerned, she is now waving all the time. If you say hi to her, she'll wave, or if I tell her to, she will. If she sees her reflection in the mirror, she waves. It's just so cute. When my mom calls on FaceTime, she'll wave to her, and I think that it's so cute. I didn't even realize like she had picked that up from me, but I wave to her every morning when I come into her room, and then one day she beat me to it. Okay, I just sat her down on the floor because she is getting antsy, and I know I'm gonna have to cut so much out of this video of her just bouncing all over the place. Bear with all the cuts. But anyway, so the next thing I have on my list to talk about is, oh, we were discussing her motor skills. So yes, she's waving now, which is really cute. Like I mentioned in previous videos, she's already been rolling all over the place and she's been crawling. But recently she has started pulling up. I did drop her bed down when she pulled up for the first time, which was a while back, but then she didn't pull up anymore, but now she's doing it more often. She mostly pulls up on my legs if I'm sitting on the floor, but she's pulled up on Sebastian's black chair in the playroom as well. I know that that has no bearing on when they're gonna walk. walk. I just know it's just the next milestone, but who knows, maybe she'll walk early. At the moment, she is becoming far more trustworthy as far as sitting up is concerned. She doesn't really fall back anymore, but sometimes she does, so I still definitely keep an eye on her and try not to go too far if she's sitting up. She is not pushing up into the sitting position on her own yet, so she'll stay there if I put her there, but at the moment, from lying down on her back or on her stomach, she's not sitting up on her own. And I know that Sebastian was at this point, and I'm not trying to compare the two when I say like anything about him. I'm just, he's the only reference that I have, so yeah, I'm sure that's coming soon, but at the moment she's not doing that. She is still, like I said, 100% a mama's girl. Brennan and her relationship is so cute, but you know, after a certain amount of time she will start looking around for me. It's just no longer a crying situation, which is really good. Even though she is totally a mama's girl, she has finally gotten into the ability to play independently. So even like right now, I sat her down on the floor with her toys and she's just down there exploring and touching and tasting everything. And that is the other thing, she is all over the place. If you sit her down, she's on the move and she's always getting into something, and she loves to be in the mix. If we're huddled over here, she's gonna be huddled over there, or she's following one of us. She loves to play with her brother. He hasn't really come around to playing with her, but he likes to like give her things and then walk away. But I'm really excited to see once he kind of respects her as like another child versus just like a little baby. I'm excited to see their bond grow and watch them play together. She already wants to so bad, and it's the cutest thing. And that really just goes into her personality. She always wants to be a part, and she's smiling all the time or laughing, and her laugh more sounds like a honk. But in the last couple months, her personality has really started to shine through. I'm just so excited to see like what type of little girl she becomes. Because honestly, just when you think she's going to be like this goofy little baby, she gets really serious and will give you like the resting baby face for like 20 minutes. So my next bullet point is about the passy, and I mentioned this in a previous video, and as you saw at the beginning of this one when she was still sitting in my lap, we have a love-hate for the passy. She loves it, I hate it. It is what it is. I try not to just give it to her when she's just like up and moving, just because there's no point in it. But for instances like this, like when I need her to be calm, I don't mind her having it. Yeah, she loves it, I hate it, and we're not gonna have it much longer, but I don't mind for now. She just started trying to touch the tripod, so I picked her up. My next point is her toys, and in a recent video I discussed all about her baby toys, and we've really been diving deep into Montessori style toys, and I love them. I'll link that video below if you're interested to see the type of toys that she's been playing with. But like I said, she can play with them independently, and it's been really, really great. As long as I'm in her line of vision, she has no problem doing her own thing. All right, and finally, I wanted to quickly talk to you about sleep, because I fully had every intention on doing proper sleep training with her, and I really didn't get to do it because she kind of did it on her own. So basically, she slept in our room up until we moved in here, and maybe shortly after, and anytime she cried in the night, I would feed her. And then even after I moved her into her own room in here where we are now, if she cried in the night, I would get up and feed her. And at first it was like she would wake up twice, and I would just get up no matter what I was doing, sleeping, or if I was downstairs with Brandon, I would go up and feed her and, you know, lay her back down. And then 2 times turned into 1 time, and I was just doing that. Well, one night in particular, I guess I was too sleepy and I didn't hear her crying over the monitor, and I woke up at like 6 a.m. and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, she was probably in there crying and starving all night. And I look at the monitor and she was asleep. And so I was like, huh. So I told my friend, and she's like, honestly, you know, she can go through the night without eating, because nutritionally it's not necessary for babies to eat overnight after 6 months, which is why I was planning on sleep training her. But my friend was like, just don't go in the next time. So the following night, I heard her cry on the baby monitor, and I didn't go in, and she probably cried for maybe 15 minutes and then went back to sleep. I didn't even go in to console her, which is typically what you do with the cried out method in sleep training. The next night she woke up again, but she didn't cry. She just kind of woke up and laid there and rolled around for a little bit, and then she went to sleep. And then after that, it has been smooth sailing. She would wake up, but she never cried, and then she'd put herself back to sleep. And now she has stopped waking up in the middle of the night. She usually goes to bed between 6 and 6:30, and in the morning she wakes up at 6. I feed her, and then I put her back down, and she sleeps until 8. And both of the kids get up at 8. So as you can see, there really was no proper sleep training. She kind of just did it on her own. I honestly just stopped going in at her every beck and cry, and it worked. If you have questions on what I was going to do with sleep training, you can ask them down below. I have no problem answering them, but I probably won't do a video on it now just because I have nothing to show as she's sleeping through the night now. Well, since we're on the topic of sleep, I was having a conversation in my DMs with a couple of you on sleeping, and someone asked about her naps, so I just thought I'd write it down. Like I said, she wakes up at 6 a.m. and I feed her, put her back down until 8. I feed her again at 8, and then we have breakfast. About 30 minutes later is when she eats, and she goes back down around 10 or so. I'm not super strict on this, but I do try to keep that nap to 1 hour. And then we have lunch with Sebastian around noon, and they both go down at 1 or 1:30 depending on the day. And then that nap is, I kind of let her sleep until she wants to get up, but typically it's about 2 hours long. And then once she's up from that nap, I nurse her and we eat dinner. Well, she eats dinner around like 5:30 so that we can have her in bed between 6 or 6:30 right on time. For those of you who are still trying to get your babies to sleep well at night, I 100% think that having a good nap schedule for them during the day is crucial. Sleep begets sleep, so if they're sleeping well during the day, then they will sleep a lot better at night, and I stand behind that. It has worked for Sebastian and for her as well. My son is a dream sleeper, and so I've just kind of been applying the same principles that I did with him, and I have no complaints as far as either of them when it comes to sleeping. They both do so well. You wanna get down? She just kicked the tripod. We are almost done. But just to round out the sleep conversation before I end the video, I want to say we do try to keep her nap and bedtime routine pretty similar. So obviously at naps she's not getting a bath, but anytime she's going down for a nap or bedtime, the first thing I do is start the sound machine. That instantly, it's like Pavlov's dogs. Both of my kids are trained. You hear that sound machine and you get sleepy. I change their diaper, and then I will nurse her if she wants to. Sometimes she doesn't, but I offer it, and then I go and lay her down in her crib where her sleep sack is waiting, and then I put her sleep sack on while she's laying down in her crib, because I always want her to be able to put herself to sleep on her own. And that's pretty much it. I do that before naps and before bed, and it truly has helped. And that's pretty much it. She still gets baths about every 3 days, and I shampoo her hair once a week unless she gets like nasty food in it. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video and keeping up with her updates. If you have any questions down below about Margot, or just, you know, developing babies at this stage, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will answer those questions there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.